Welcome to another episode of Bridge the Gap. I am C. This is Brandon.
What we're going to talk about is gender roles. Um, do we still believe in gender roles? Is society trying to diminish gender roles? Um, is gender roles a good thing? So we going to talk about it. Um, First and foremost, I think
Speak on
a male. So you have a male and a female for a reason,
it.
right? It wasn't just one gender.
Mm-hmm.
Male, female. And the Bible speaks clear on that. What's expected of a man. We're the image of God. It talks about that in, I believe, Genesis and Corinthians,
Mm-hmm.
how we're the image of God. And for a woman, it talks about specific rules for that, especially in marriage. So we live in a society today where a lot of people like to, especially Christians, like a lot of people like to claim that they're Christian, but some of them, I'm not going to say all, but some of them will, when it comes to certain stuff like that, like gender roles in the Bible, they quick to say it's outdated. Um, and
It always is.
right. And it's crazy
If
because
it goes against what I want to do, no, that's all
right.
good. Right.
And, obviously society changes from era to era,
Mm-hmm.
but we got to be mindful that the word of God says Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore.
Mm-hmm.
So what we read in that word, it matches with every era that we live in. And if it says in the word how, men have certain responsibilities, and women has certain responsibilities, you can't be mad at us for sticking to that. It may not be popular, it may not be ideal, and we understand that we live in a situation or society today where a lot of women kind of have to step up for men because some of the men is like non-existent, in a family case, non-existent. So
Mm-hmm.
does that justify gender roles? I can see that. I can see where she has to step in and do what a man's supposed to do.
Mm.
But should it be that way? No. No woman should ever have to be in that predicament, especially if the father's still around, that she has to play both roles.
Mm-hmm.
So us as men, we definitely got to get it together as well because we're supposed to provide for our family. The Bible speaks clear on that if any man don't provide for his own household
Mm. Mm.
or any of his own, he's worse than the infidel, which
Yes.
is he's worse than the unbeliever.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it speaks clear on that. What you think?
As far as believing in gender roles,
Mhm.
100%, I believe in that. I think the only time when that can become blurred is when you said, if the man is not present.
Mm-hmm.
So then a mother has to play a role, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
of the man and the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And this may, hit people a little certain way. That doesn't always work out the way you believe it is.
It's not supposed to.
Right. But, you hear people talk, well, I did,
Mhm.
yeah, but there's something lacking there.
Right.
Like, there's something lacking in that child,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's a male, right? Like, he didn't come up with the image of what a man
Mm-hmm.
is supposed to do and how a man is supposed to process and move. But back to specifically on gender roles, I believe a man is a man and a woman is a woman. That's not up for debate for me. There's nothing to talk about when it comes to
Cut
that.
and dry.
Yeah. I'm not playing that game. anything a man can do, a woman can. I'm not playing that game.
Right.
Like, you may be able to do it. That doesn't mean you should be doing it, right?
Or
Which,
you will want to. I mean,
right. Like, what's I, see the thing about it, like you said, people will try to say certain stuff is outdated.
Mm-hmm.
But the case is, if you actually followed those traditional things, we wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
in the times that we're in. Those things work for reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The man is the provider. He's more of the discipline, protector situation. The woman is supposed to play the support.
Right.
That doesn't lessen anything. That's not anyone being weak.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone has a role.
Right.
And I don't know why that became such a demeaning thing when you gotta look down on a man that's doing this or a woman doing that. And I want to say, and there's a lot of things in society that are not set up for a black man to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess the highest college population is black women.
Mm-hmm.
Of any demographic, right? So black women are out there, they're going to college, they're graduating, they're getting higher paid jobs
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, right? So there's a lot of situations where the woman or the wife may be making more than the husband.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where it gets weird and disrespectful to me. There are a lot of women who are making more than a man, then will put that in his face. Like, he's not a man.
Mm-hmm.
No. See, you're listening to what society's saying because you think money gives you value. You think money makes you the man and gives you the pants in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
No. I don't care if you did out-earn me.
Right.
Like, in this house, I'm still the man.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's not the case in a lot of households.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gotten so away from what should be because we want to keep altering things to fit what we believe nowadays
Mm-hmm.
instead of what things have traditionally always been.
Right. And that's a good point that you bring up about the whole the breadwinner thing.
Mm.
I could tell you this now. Men, we really don't care how much money a woman makes. She can make less than this, more than this, whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't change the fact that we still have that duty as a man to still provide for our family. And if any slight of ounce that, the woman makes the man not feel that way, you're going to have a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Because like you said, money doesn't make you more valuable in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Like you still have to allow us to be a man, which a woman should want to do. Like, if a woman makes more than her husband, okay, do you want to pay bills? Like, do you want to pay for the mortgage? Do you want to pay all these utilities? Like,
Right.
If my wife made more money than me, and this is just me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be in her pockets. Oh, well, since you make more than me, can you pay the mortgage this month? Can you pay utility? No, I'm going to still make sure the mortgage is paid, make sure all the utilities bills are paid, make sure we have groceries.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be, counting on my wife's money when it's my job as a man to provide for us.
Right. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And with a older perspective and mentality on that,
Mm-hmm.
if you're married, there is no more your money, my money. If we're married, what we make is what we make.
Right.
I don't care if you make double what I make.
Right.
Like, money goes to this account and we decide how everything is moving.
Mm-hmm.
There is no, once you say I do, we become one.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already messing yourself up in that mentality.
Right.
When you separate things out, because it shouldn't be things going on the left and things going on the right. This is how we're supposed to be now.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we're supposed to move.
And unfortunately, we live in a society where men is kind of like counting on women's money a little bit too much, in my opinion. Men, they're comfortable with expecting to split bills,
Mm.
and I really don't get. So, of course, if a man really don't have it like that, they have to do what they got to do in order to make the family, work.
Right.
All right, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for the rest of, our lives together, I can't count on my wife, paying bills. Like at the end of the day, I got to figure out as a man how to get that done. Um,
Agreed. 100%. As a man, as a husband, like you gotta you gotta do.
right.
Like she has to look up to you.
Mm-hmm.
She has to respect you. But you have to do those things in order for her to respect you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be sitting at home, eating bonbons all day, waiting for her to come home. Like, well, I was looking for a job, but I couldn't find one.
Right.
Or no, you got the money, so what I mean, we good.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna keep looking for a job. No, you gotta get out there. You gotta do something.
Yeah, and it's a difference between being down for a period of time, because that's understandable. Like
That happens to everybody.
yeah, life's
Yeah.
not perfect. We all gonna be in that situation where we're gonna ask our wives to help out a little bit.
Right.
But you even have well-established men today, certain men, that's still banking on their wife's contribution to bills.
Yeah.
And men is different nowadays.
Oh yeah. I mean, just from conversations and hearing people date, it's like, I think one thing I heard, well, if she asks me out, she needs to pay. Or, if it's the first one, we should go Dutch. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if I'm going to like her. Those are different takes than how I was brought up.
Mm.
So I was always on a mindset of, if I take somebody out, I'm paying.
Right.
But that's not the norm anymore.
It's not. And this what I would encourage all women to do. Like if you're going on a first date with a guy, just pull out your wallet and see his reaction, see what he say. You'll get your answer from that point on.
Wow.
So
I think
you should
probably,
base your judgment off of that.
Dude.
So if it's been a couple of times where my fiance now, it's been a couple of times where we'll go out to eat and she'll try to pull out her wallet. I'm like, what you doing?
Yeah.
Especially if she did it on the first date, I would have looked at her like she was crazy. Like, what you doing?
Yeah.
I got this. But
it's an appreciated gesture though.
it is.
Right? Because 20 years of dating, two women, just two women, ever even thought to reach for a wallet. And I, of course, like, nah. But I appreciate it, like, yo, you actually was going to do it.
They was probably doing the test.
They probably was, It didn't work for them, though.
Right.
But, yeah. You're right. They probably, that was their test, too. Like, let me see how you going to act. So
You'll get your red flag from there.
yeah, you're right. It's always a game being played.
All right. He be like, oh, you want to pay? Oh, all right.
Yeah.
That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can go half.
Right.
That's a red flag. Oh, yo, what you doing? I got this. All right. Yeah, you might be on to something with that guy. So,
Yeah. Well, you grabbed your wallet first, so,
Right.
let you rock with that. Okay.
But yeah, I would never understand that. And it's like, if a guy already had that mindset going in, well, this is the first time. I don't know if I'm gonna like her.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't about to spend my money on I ain't about to pay for this full bill. Why are you texting her then? Like, why are you asking her out then?
Right.
Why are you asking anybody out to a date if,
No, that's a whole, if you
you're
ain't
not
got no money, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not investing to that person, or at least interested in being invested to that person. So,
Yeah.
I always say you can kind of get a feel for a woman before the date, like through conversations on the phone, texting, and we can do a better job, both men and women, judging off of that first.
Oh, true indeed.
Because if it's a little off there,
Ain't no point continuing
Yeah,
this then. So
yeah, it's not worth it.
there's
You
too many
know.
people out here. Just keep it moving.
Right. That's true.
But just as far as I guess, like I guess it comes down to what do you consider to be specific gender roles? Like the man is supposed to be the provider,
Hmm.
the protector, and the woman is supposed to be what, more the nurturer, the supporter. So when
Hmm.
we talk traditionally, 50s, 60s, you watch those old TV shows, which I never watched. The wife would be cooking, cleaning, keeping the house.
Hmm.
Um, I can tell you honestly that there are women that can cook, but
Hmm.
that is not the majority out here. Like they'll order something,
Right.
they'll buy something, but a lot. Well, I don't want to cook.
Hmm.
So I was like, I was talking to one person, and I was talking about like ironing my clothes. I was like, well, would you iron my clothes? Why would I iron your clothes? I said, okay,
Right.
cool. I got what I need. It was just, just a simple conversation of just asking certain things.
It's like beneath them now.
It is. It is.
Hmm.
But it's funny as those things would get you so much further in life. Like you would have a simpler life, but it's demeaning to you. It's
Yeah.
I don't get that concept.
But most women want their bills paid, but certain stuff is, you know,
It's
demeaning
picking
to
and
them.
choosing,
Yeah.
right? You want what works for you,
Hmm.
but everything else that's old school. That's Neanderthal stuff. But the man's supposed to take care of me, do A, B, C, and D.
Hmm.
But why should I have to wash the dishes? Why should I have to do laundry?
Right.
Like he can do his own stuff. So it goes back to if he can do everything himself, what are you there for?
Hmm.
If you don't want to provide quote unquote traditional role, what are we here? What are we doing here?
Hmm.
So, as someone, I can cook, I do cook, I do clean,
Hmm.
So you tell me you don't, all right, you don't even do that, nah. So it's not looking good.
So, I think the main problem with that is some women want a traditional man, but can they be a traditional woman?
Mm,
And that's a lot of the traditional stuff you were just speaking about as a woman. Keeper of good things at home.
mm-hmm.
Taking care of things around the house and stuff like that. The woman, I mean, the man, taking care of the family, providing for the family, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot, like I said, a lot of women want that traditional man to pay their bills, to make sure everything, to be there for them, to support them. But they just not willing to be or 100% bought in to be that um, traditional woman. They still on the
Yeah.
fence being that modern woman. So
Yeah, and depending on what you want, like if you want a traditional man, being a modern woman will not get you that.
mm-mm,
Because being a modern woman, unfortunately, it's a downgrade from the traditional woman,
mm-hmm,
and it's a loss. So, if a man is bringing that much to the table and he is that traditional man, he'll have no value in what you consider to be a modern woman.
mm-hmm.
It's a losing scenario for him.
So this is really interesting too because a lot of women probably just don't know how to be a traditional woman, and that goes back to the home.
Yep.
So the mother, our wives and stuff, they got to do a better job of teaching their daughters how to be a wife,
Mm.
teaching them early. Because like it's a lot of innocent women out here that's like, just going with the flow, going with the way society is going, being that
Mm-hmm.
modern woman, probably want to be a good wife, but they just haven't been taught how to be a good wife.
Correct.
You
You
know
can only teach what you know.
exactly.
So you may have generation of people that are married,
Hmm.
but aren't by definition really wives, though.
Right.
and they see, well, my mother got married, my grandmother got married, so I'm doing the same stuff they're doing, so why isn't it working for me?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're trying to go after a traditional man.
But modern.
Correct. Correct.
Right.
It's not going to work,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, once we can start doing that better as a black family, teaching the woman how to be a good wife, once they get well on their own, you'll see changes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we really got to be honest with ourselves. How many mothers actually taught their daughters in today's society how to, be a good wife?
Mm.
My generation now, I'm 26. Are the women my generation, are they going to teach their daughters when growing up how to be a good wife?
Mm.
Um,
Interesting.
so that's definitely a lot to think about, and of course it works both ways too.
Mm-hmm.
A man need to learn how to be a good husband, a good God-fearing man, a man with discipline. Like we need to
Mm-hmm.
learn those things too, um, and that's the big disconnect. One of the big
Yeah.
things, one of the big disconnects in the black family. So,
Let me ask you this though. Um, as far as traditional gender roles,
hmm
do you think men are further away from traditional gender roles today, or are women further away from traditional gender roles today?
hmm. This might surprise you. I would say kind of the men.
I'm surprised.
Yeah,
You
because
asked me. I'm on a different side of that one. Go ahead.
uh,
I'm interested.
I don't even know where it's like we set that example at the end of the day. If we start holding ourselves more accountable to being traditional, women might realize that I'm not really getting the men I want. Maybe like what can I fix? Like if more men hold ourselves accountable and be that traditional man that we need to be,
Mm-hmm.
um, women don't feel like they have to do certain stuff that they're doing now. They don't feel like they have to step up into that quote unquote man's role or like modern woman role if we're doing what we got to do.
Mm.
So I think everything starts with
Interesting.
us. Everything definitely starts with us.
Mm.
Because if you think about it, if we had a lot of traditional men today,
Mm-hmm.
would it be a lot of traditional women today, or would it still be a high rate of modern women?
See,
So are we becoming nowadays? Are we becoming more modern men?
see, we're on different sides of this one.
Okay,
So I'm coming from a different perspective, right?
and we're speaking about as a whole.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I believe that men are closer to being the quote unquote traditional men
hmm
than women are closer to being that. I say that because experience and conversations, right?
hmm
I know I've talked to a lot of men that are on a certain path and certain mentality. They're good men, but all their experience with these women are they are more of that modern mindset. So even when they try to show them that traditional lifestyle, the women couldn't adapt to it.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to counter that argument,
Mm.
does that not start with us? Because, like you said, woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely a disconnect with the age gap. So men
Right.
your age is probably more traditional, but why is it that men my age are kind of more of the modern? That goes back to, are the traditional men teaching
Mm-hmm.
their sons how to be traditional men? Are they
Now,
present
this,
enough?
so this the thing. This the thing I'll say to that. Right.
hmm
That's a true statement,
Right.
and that's a very valid statement.
Mm-hmm.
and I agree with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do believe me and the segment of men
Mm-hmm.
were raised right with that type of mentality,
Right. I
right?
agree. I agree.
Now, us going out there and dating, we find that not everyone grew up like that, and it's difficult because you're of that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But to that, I will say this: we all make decisions in our lives, right? As you
Okay.
get older, you decide who you want to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to take some responsibility and accountability for who you are and your actions. So, coming up, I didn't know anything about money.
Mm-hmm.
I had to teach myself, right? I
Right.
had to become financial literate. So, as a man, I'm coming up, I have to define what type of man do I want to be. I did have an example, but
Mm-hmm.
right, there's a lot of stuff going on in front of me, and just in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
I could have turned a different way, but I decided what I wanted and what I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, okay, so there are some women who didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have cases where women didn't come up in the environment, but they understood what they wanted, and so they adapt and they learn. So where does it come into play where, yes, you didn't see that, but at some point you said, I want this, so I have to do something different.
Right. Now in that case, yeah, I see what you're saying.
No, that's just
Um,
that's just old head stuff at this
right.
point. 'Cause you know what? Because I 100% understand where you're coming from. I agree with you. It's just me being older and let's say 20 years on top of what you lived.
Mm-hmm.
It comes a point where I can't give excuses to people anymore. Because I've seen so much,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen both halves. I've seen people came up in very bad scenarios and turned things around. Said,
Right.
no, I don't want to be a victim.
Mm.
I want a good life, and this is what I'm going to do. And some people just want to literally be stuck in the mud.
Right.
So, but I do 100% agree with what you're saying, though.
So let me ask this. So most of the women that you're dating, are they? I'm assuming they're in that older age bracket.
They range.
Okay.
They
So
range. They range.
okay. Well, let's say this: the woman that's a little bit older compared to the woman that's a little bit younger that you date,
Mm-hmm.
you don't find a difference there.
Um,
Is there a difference in
honestly,
mindset?
honestly, no.
Nah.
And
Okay.
that's the thing. Like I'm telling you, um, the older ones, you really won't see that much difference in mentality.
And I'm surprised because women normally mature faster than men.
That's a different conversation
Right.
that I really want to tackle too.
Well, yeah.
No, they do,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as their actions and their mentality, they may mature faster,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't always equate to mentality and how they move.
That's
So,
a good point.
unfortunately,
That's a real good point. Yeah.
I could talk to someone who's 27, or I could talk to somebody from 47,
Mm-hmm.
and there may be not that much difference in mentality.
Right.
Like age doesn't always equal wisdom,
Mm.
and that's an unfortunate thing because I would think, okay, older, and that's what I always would try to figure out. So let me talk to someone older, see their mentality. Maybe they move different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe I'll talk to somebody younger before stuff sets in.
Right.
Wait, oh man, it's the same.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Right.
You got to try though. You got to
Right.
try. You got to be open. So,
Wow, that's intriguing. I would have thought that older woman. I would have thought, but like you
Yeah.
said, age really doesn't define maturity.
man, the older one was the ones like iron.
Right.
She's older than me, and she was like iron. I want iron for you. I was like, yo. It's
Yeah.
like-
And like I said, like stuff like that, right? Those
Mhm.
type of responses, that all goes right back to the family.
yes. Yep.
We got to do a better job
If you're looking to take a step into the right direction on your fitness and health goals, check out blessthecut.com. That's blessthecut.com. If you're looking for a virtual trainer or you're trying to come out with a workout tailored for you and your lifestyle, please check out blessthecut.com. And at the same time, if you're trying to improve your personal, professional, or financial life, please check out www.hiphopmanor.com. That's hiphopmanor.com. And also, as a free resource, check out the YouTube channel Hip Hop Manor. Thank you.